folks, this is Kim. Welcome to livemorenow.net. Today I want to talk about food labeling. For those of you who saw my shopping organic video, you got to see the frustrating experience of reading some of the food labels. And today I hope to take out some of the mystery for some of the different labels you're going to see as you start shopping for organic food. The labels on food, particularly when it comes to animal welfare, can be very confusing and sometimes downright misleading. So again, I hope to help clear up some of those mysteries. I'm going to start with all natural or natural. If you see that on a food, then I just want you to know that it has absolutely nothing to do with organic. That's nice. All that really means is that there is no preservatives, no food coloring, and no synthetic ingredients added to the finished product. It has nothing to do with how the animal was raised or whether or not they were given hormones or antibiotics. Now, the USDA requires, in order to get the organic label, the USDA requires that the food be 95% organic. You'll sometimes see 100% organic, which is rather obvious. It means it is, in fact, 100% organic. Either way, the USDA requires that their certified inspection agency put their stamp on that food, which can be very tricky to find. I've got a picture here that hopefully you can see, but you can barely read this on the label. You really have to sift through a bunch of information to find what you're looking for. This also has the USDA Organic label on here, which is not required, by the way. So that's the difference between all natural, organic, and 100% organic. Okay, so let's talk about grass-fed, 100% grass-fed, pasture-raised, free-range labels that you'll find on a lot of meat products. For example, let's look at this milk. It says 100% grass-fed. That sounds good, and it is good. It's not a bad thing. It does require that meat producer allows those animals some outdoor access. However, they are not required to disclose how long they're allowed to be outside, how often they're allowed to be outside, the quality of the land that they're roaming on. To say that something is a cow is grass-fed could mean that they are confined in an overcrowded barn and fed grass, and simply that, which really doesn't do much for animal welfare, in my opinion, at all. You may also come across the Certified Humane Raised and Handled label. This means that there's no crates, no cages, no tethers, no hormones, no antibiotics. It does, however, they're not required to allow outdoor access or natural sunlight, natural daylight to all species. So be forewarned. It doesn't indicate which species at this point aren't allowed daylight. I suspect it's chickens because that's a common practice to keep them in the dark. Animal Welfare Approved label. AnimalWelfareApproved.org seems to be a relatively new organization. This certification is not widely available. There is a locator on their website where you can locate retailers in your area. At this time, there's none in mine, but I am definitely going to be keeping an eye out for this label and checking their website again, AnimalWelfareApproved.org. It is the only certification at this time that requires pasture access for all animals. One of the last labels I'm going to talk about is the 5-step program that was founded by the Global Animal Partnership Organization, and it's absolutely one of my favorites because it makes decision-making very, very simple. It's a 5-tier system. Here's a couple products that I bought at Whole Foods. This one is a step 2, and here is a step 3. And now I'm going to describe each of those tiers in a little bit more detail here. So step 1, as you can see, is no crates and no cages. Animals live their lives with space to move around and stretch their legs. Step 2 is an enriched environment, which means they're encouraged to engage in natural behavior. For example, a bale of straw for chickens. Step 3, enhanced outdoor access, which pigs and chickens might live in buildings, but they all, yes, each and every one of them have access to outdoor areas. Step 4 is pasture-centered, which is ideally where I'd like to be. It does get pretty expensive, but everybody is allowed outdoor access. Chickens are allowed to forage, pigs get to wallow, cattle gets to roam. Step 5 is animal-centered, all physical alterations prohibitive. It reads here, animals get to live their whole lives with all the body parts they were born with. So for example, a lot of companies debeak their chickens, for example, to avoid injurious pecking. Hens might peck at each other. They call it cannibalism, and it's usually caused by living in close quarters. Step 5 plus, which is really hard to find, is animal-centered. Their entire life is on the same farm, and from the research that I've done, these creatures are treated almost like household pets. Okay, I want to touch very briefly on GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. It is pretty crazy involved. Folks are writing full-length documentaries about GMOs. In fact, I would recommend, if you're interested, to catch the movie GMO OMG. It's very, very interesting. But if you are trying to avoid GMOs, then the label you're looking for is the non-GMO project verification label. Now, just so you know, the non-GMO project organization can't guarantee that any given product is 100% GMO free, simply because of the limitations to the testing methods and moreover the risk of contamination to the seeds. But it is, all their products are put through rigorous testing, so it's certainly a very, very good start. Finally, I want to mention the Animal Welfare Institute. They have a really cool consumer guide on their website for food labels. They've got a full guide, and then they've also got a cool pocket guide that you can carry with you. And I've included a link to that in my description below, so please be sure to check that out. So there you have it, folks. That's a start. Again, we got to take this one small step at a time. Otherwise, I'm going to get so overwhelmed, we're going to just shut this project down, which I will not let happen. But again, stick with me, folks. If you like what you saw, please click like. To see more, click subscribe. Thanks for visiting livemorenow.net.